And I thought that was fabulous. And I also think this Tony Hillerman has an approach that feels part of what we're talking about. It's east of US 54 near the old Three Rivers service station, north of Tularosa. The road jolts across the Southern Pacific tracks toward the foothills of the Sierra Blanca and passes a high grassy ridge. On a July afternoon, the view from there suggests a hostile planet. The ragged stone ridgeline of the Sierra Oscura rises 50 miles to the west, and the Tularosa Basin below is lost in a haze of heat. We almost saw that this morning. If you climb high enough and the light is right, you can see to the southwest the glittering line formed by the gypsum dunes of the White Sands, and below the Oscuras, the black smudge of the lava bed Badlands. For me, this is one of the many of New Mexico's magical places, and the magic seems always to have worked. Stone Age hunters used the same ridge before the white man arrived. They used it, I presume, because it commanded game trails. But while they waited, they covered the boulders with petroglyphs of beasts, men, and myth. Some of them suggest Miro, or Clay, or Picasso. All of them suggest that sitting among these basalt boulders, with no sound but the wind blowing through the grama and the arid immensity of the Tularosa Basin around you, stimulated imaginations and predate my own. One of our Pueblo peoples has, as a part of their emergence myth, a story that applies. When these people emerged from the underworld, they found the earth dark and empty. They saw only a giant sitting beside a fire. The giant was Skeleton Man. He has many other names. The holy person in charge of death. Skeleton Man's face was bloody and terrible, but his manner was friendly. The delegation asked if he had any objections to their living in this territory. No, said Skeleton Man, immigrants are welcome. In fact, he would be glad to have neighbors, but they should understand that this land offered little food and less water. If they sought material benefit, they should seek elsewhere. They should remain only if fulfillment for them required things other than wealth and plenty. It's obvious that New Mexico didn't attract migrants with any glittering promises of easy living. Its appeal was to those like the delegation calling upon Skeleton Man, who had values a little different from the materialism of American society. Probably there's more to this spell of New Mexico, that's the name of the book, than any of this. Probably it's almost purely individual. D.H. Lawrence, for example, wrote that New Mexico made him aware of the, quote, terrifying underdepths, unquote, that lie beneath civilized society, and thereby changed him forever.
You can feel it, the atmosphere of it, around the Pueblos. Come riding through at dusk on some windy evening, when the black skirts of the silent women blow around the white, wide boots. And you will feel the old, old roots of human consciousness, still reaching down to the depths we know nothing of, and of which, only too often, we are jealous.
Quote, curious as it may sound, he wrote, it was New Mexico that liberated me from the present era of civilization, unquote. As for me, I can only say that New Mexico seems to make me want to write. And it makes me want to do art. And I think this just summarizes so well how it goes. Yeah. And I think our artists in residence probably would agree with that one line, don't you, Corey? It was New Mexico that liberated me from the present era of civilization, to find their art, to find their rhythm, to find their quiet spaces, the space where they belong, and their spirit. their sense of spirit.
Oh yeah, I'm like, whoa.